Hi. Today I'll be sharing some insight on our move to Panama, how am I going to cope socially and that kind of stuff. So if you're into exploring living in different countries, or you're just curious about what somebody who's moving to another country is thinking about it, I think this video might be for you. What inspired me to make such a drastic change from Finland to Panama? We first started considering the move around 4 years ago, but at that time we were still thinking about between Vancouver and Panama. So we had two criteria. We wanted to be in English or Spanish-speaking country. My wife is native Spanish speaker, but she's more of an English thinker, so either one would work for us. And for me, I want to get better at both of these languages. So Panama, Vancouver, and we were thinking about both of these until 2.5 years ago, but then we finally made the decision to move to Panama because my wife's from there. It makes sense. It's an easy move paperwork wise, so we'll go there first and see if we want to explore the Northern America from there, but for now it's going to be Panama. So eventually it took us probably like a year and a half pondering between these two options. But let me know in the comments if you've ever thought about moving into another country, and if so, let me know where to and where from. So what are the biggest cultural differences that I anticipate between Finland and Panama? I don't know what it could be, but I've lived with a Panamanian wife for 7 years already, so I think I get some of it, but she's not a traditional Panamanian, not at all. She's worried that I will get overwhelmed with all the noise and people being too friendly, touchy and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, I don't see that happening, but we'll see. But I suspect it will take me some time to get used to having a lot of people around, having loud people around, and the traffic and all that kind of stuff. Because Finland is pretty quiet, especially up here in north where I live. So I definitely need to learn how to deal with noise. And culturally speaking, the cuisine is quite different, but Panama, to my knowledge, is not too vegan friendly, so I need to find out what works for me and what not. So no seafood or fried chicken or anything like that is popular in Panama. But of course there will be surprises, and I guess that I just need to wait and see how it goes eventually. But if you keep on following this journey, I will share about these cultural differences later on. But I suspect that the daily life will be affected quite a bit because I need to be commuting to an office or co-working space. I don't know yet. The day-to-day rhythm is probably a bit different. In Finland, you go to the office usually around 8 to 9. You leave work around 4 to 5. And I know that the day rhythm is a bit different there because you have the constant 6 a.m. sunrise, 6 p.m. sundown, and in Finland it kind of differs. So the whole environment is wired to that, and people commute early. So there's definitely some things, but as you can tell, the culture aspect hasn't really worried me too much. I'm just going in, seeing how it goes, and I'm excited about it. But I want to ask you, what kind of cultural differences have you noticed while traveling and staying in different places? And leave a comment to tell me what kind of stuff have you encountered in the wild. Why did we choose Panama as our destination? And it's pretty obvious, since she's from there, it will be fairly easy culturally to adapt there because she knows how things work. We have family over there. We can stay with her parents' house while finding our own apartment. And she also has a bunch of friends, and that's quite helpful for us instead of moving to a totally different country where we don't know anybody. There were a couple of factors that I really wanted to have when moving away, and that was the weather. I wanted to be warm because I'm done with winter, and in Panama it's constantly super hot, so I'm a bit worried that it's too warm. But I've been there for 3 months in total and it wasn't too bad for me. So I'm just hoping that the heat is not too much for me. We didn't really think about the cost of living when picking up the destination because in Finland, this is a pretty expensive place to live. So whatever it's less expensive is good in our books. And what are my biggest fears or concerns moving to Panama? And for me, it's definitely the social aspect. I've managed to build my social network here in Finland in a way that supports me. I have colleagues here, I have family, I have friends. So if I need anybody to help me out, or I just need the emotional support, I know who to call, I know where to go. But in Panama, the time difference will be 7 to 8 hours to Finland. So people are not as accessible, even though you can reach out online. But in general, I will not have my social support network. But on the other hand, my wife will have hers, so it will be easier for her. And that's something that I will probably struggle quite a bit for a long time, but that's part of the experience. Creating a new social network and getting to know people, getting new friends, either locals or expats, who knows. I've been trying to find people online on YouTube who have made the move to Panama from Europe, but I don't remember if I've actually found any. But I've been watching a couple of YouTube channels, especially the nomadic movement, and they are living in Boquete and building a homestead over there. So I've been watching their videos for quite a long time. And I've also been watching the jungle couple who's on the same farm with them. But I haven't really found anybody who's done the move from Scandinavia or Europe to Panama and talking about it publicly online. But I do have friends who have moved from there to here, not from Panama, but from Mexico, from Peru, from Uruguay. And I know about their experience moving towards here, but I don't really know people who have done the same trip towards Latin America from here. My only plan right now is to have big enough credit limit on my credit card, so if we need to buy the tickets to come back to Finland, it will be easy as buying the tickets and just coming back. We both have Finnish passports, it will not be a problem. Only thing that might cause some delays with that is that we need to be able to bring our 2 dogs with. There might be some hoops to jump through to be able to bring the dogs as well. Let's hope for the best. But what are your biggest fears moving to a new country, and how are you planning to overcome them? How does my family and friends feel about your decision to move? My family and friends have not really affected my decision, but of course I feel a bit more hesitant to move that far because I'm basically leaving anybody behind. But nowadays the world is a fairly small space. We have the internet and we have flights, so if I need to come and visit people, I can come back to Finland. Or if people want to visit me, they can come to visit me in Panama. And we have phones, we can call to each other, and the internet opens up a whole realm of possibilities there as well. My plan right now is to use Instagram to share about my life, create these videos so people can follow me, and hopefully they reach out to me more because they see that I'm still alive and see me online. I don't know how this will work in the end, but this is the plan. I haven't really looked into if Panama has Finnish-speaking communities or bubbles, but that's not really what I'm looking for, so I'm perfectly okay without using Finnish as long as I can get my Spanish up to a level that enables me to communicate with the natives. And what are the top 3 things that I will miss about Finland? And the first thing is probably going to be online services. In Finland, you can already do basically everything online. You rarely need to go and see people in person. It's all online and it's easy to deal with. The banking, the groceries, ordering food, and you name it, online shopping. So that's probably one thing that I will be missing the most. The second thing is probably going to be sauna. Even though I don't use it too often, but when I do, it's nice to have it. And if you know anything about Finland, you're probably aware that we have saunas in almost every home. And if you don't have it in your apartment, you often have saunas in apartment buildings that are shared with people living in them. And the third thing is probably my friends. I don't have the social constructs to go and play music with people or just grab a casual lunch with an old friend of mine, so that I will miss. But if you think about Finnish traditions and foods, I don't consider myself traditional person, but I'm guessing that after moving to Panama, and if I don't have access to the Finnish rye bread, that will probably make me feel homesick, at least to some level. If we think about the homesickness part, I don't really know how to deal with it, but I spent a year in Spain and I was pretty much okay with it and I wasn't really feeling it. So that's something that I need to learn when and if it hits. And it's probably something like in the future after the first year or something. Let me know, what would you miss the most if you would move to a new country, and what would it be? What am I most excited about experiencing in Panama? First of all, the warmth, the tropical warmth. It's always warm, you feel relaxed. In Finland, it gets cold, you get stiff and rigid, and that really affects your mood and everything. So I'm really excited to be warm and relaxed. And in Panama, I also want to explore different areas, like go to Bocas del Toro, San Blas, Veraguas, all these places, just to see a different way of living and being. I haven't really gone to any other tropical places before. I've been in Panama for a couple of months, but we did not explore the country outside the city. I think we went to Playas Blancas, which is kind of like a hotel resort that has this huge pool. I'm thinking about how to learn the language better and how to get more integrated into the culture. And the first thing that I probably want to do is to do an intensive Spanish class. I think there's some that you can attend for a couple of weeks and they will be just intense Spanish learning for days in, days out, for weeks. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments. I also want to try out diving and surfing, because in Finland, the diving waters are not great. You cannot really see anything and it's cold. But in Panama, the waters are really nice and pretty and clear, so that's something that I want to try out. And I've always been a fan of skateboarding and snowboarding, so surfing has always been in the back of my mind that I want to try to learn that someday. What would be the experiences that you would be looking forward when moving to another country? How am I preparing for the climate and lifestyle changes in Panama? I know that it will be hot as hell. And compared to Finland, it's like day and night. We have -30 here during the winter easily, and I don't like it. I've been in Panama for 3 months, as I've already mentioned a couple of times, and I did not feel like the heat was too much. But of course, I will need to learn how to use sunblock constantly. And I probably need to get rid of a lot of my wardrobe. Like, I don't need all the wool socks and gloves and jackets that I use in Finland, and I guess that I will just mostly be t-shirt and shorts weather most of the time. But what comes to the lifestyle, I think I'm going to try to keep it fairly similar. Just go to the gym, move near a proper CrossFit gym that I feel comfortable with, and just go at it there and have fun, keep it warm, not be cold, all that kind of stuff. How would you prepare for lifestyle and climate change in another country? Let me know in the comments. What are my long-term goals for living in Panama? We are not planning staying permanently, but that's not excluded from our plan either. We just want to move there and see how it feels, and time will tell. We've had ideas about maybe moving to the US later on. We've been checking out Brooklyn, New York area, Chicago, but who knows? I might have some work opportunities there, so that's something that I need to keep in mind, and that would be interesting for me, but I guess that we'll see in a couple of years. But what comes to a career in Panama, I'm a software consultant and I also work with clients in the US. So remote work to US will become easier because we're around the same time zones. From Europe is pretty difficult, and especially if you're from the Eastern Europe like I am, time zone difference are pretty bad if you are working with people from the West Coast. So by living in Panama, I get access to all of the time zones in US, and work will become easier in a way. But of course, I'm still working for the company here in Finland, and now the social aspect of working with Finnish colleagues will become a lot more difficult. But what comes to my personal life, I have no idea. I'm just hoping that living in a new country, using a new language, experiencing a new culture and all that will enrich my personal life. But if you're interested in that, please subscribe and join me on this channel and let me know what's interesting to you, and maybe I can talk about it more later. What kind of long-term goals would you set for yourself if you moved to another country? Let me know in the comments. How do I plan to document and share my journey with you? This is something that you need to help me with. I'm just getting started here. I haven't really done too many videos. So what kind of content am I planning to make? I really don't know yet. You can go and see my previous videos from this year. I've done some vlogging related to selling the house, taking the dogs to the park and talking with my wife about the move and stuff related to that. But let me know what kind of content and in which kind of formats you would like to see, because I'm still learning about all of this and I don't have everything sorted out yet. So just let me know. Of course, I still have the other channel, Tony Talks Dev, that is more towards work-related topics, and that requires my attention every now and then. My plan right now is to try to publish every week here, but if I have something happening on the other channel, I might skip a week. Of course, life happens and I might not be able to publish every week. I don't have any specific stories or themes that I'm going to explore, because this video process and documenting stuff is an exploration for me as well. Like, I'm trying to discover how to present, what stories to tell. So if you have any ideas what you would like to hear about this process or other things that I talk about, please let me know and I can see if that's something that I could elaborate on.